Welcome, everybody. Welcome to BeoTalk 242. Yay!
Nice. Two for two, baby. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Hope everybody survived last night and that sort of thing. If you were in the Netherlands, it's good to be in the back old days again with people overdoing fireworks.
That was good, though. That was a good video.
It was quite literally as far as the eye could see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's far because I can see for at least 30 miles.
That's insane. So, yeah, there's never going to be a way to stop that. Like we were saying, if the government wanted to stop fireworks or make them illegal.
No.
No.
People will persist.
That's right.
It's the struggle.
I think the moment they'll ban it, there'll be even more fireworks.
Probably. Last year was banned and it was still everywhere.
Like people just double down on shit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We'll start in a different order. If you like our podcast but don't like YouTube or whatever, go to Substack and follow us there for the audio-only version. The app will play shut down, so it'll save you battery. You can download it if you're stuck with like a data plan or whatever. I think that's still a thing in like the UK and North America.
What?
Data plans for phones and stuff.
Oh yeah. Over here they gotta juice you somehow, right?
I mean, I heard somebody from the US tell me like, "Oh, I have a big one. It's 10 gig," and it's like, Jesus, I don't even remember the last time I had a 10 gig limit.
Yeah, I think I got 20 on my phone. But honestly, I never really use it because I'm always within the Wi-Fi. Like even if other than like clients' places, because I don't really connect to the Wi-Fi's anymore.
No,
because I use their devices to set up, well, predominantly theaters at this point.
And something else. Go to Skinny Play. Other friends. I'll have a 10% discount code that'll come in the chat in a second. Use the link because they can also tell that I sent you, which is sweet because maybe then they'll want to give me more stuff to review, which would be nice.
There you go.
And we have our friends over at Prestige Creators. Just go visit anything of theirs. They do good stuff. Nothing to shill, no promo code, but I like their stuff anyway. They're not paying me for this either, so just good guys over there.
Yeah.
I mean,
go give them a visit.
I mean, I still kind of, I'm annoyed I'm not in the US yet, because I kind of want to see how this is in real life, the oak fronts for the B-Lab ones.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like it.
I got 2 pairs in the storage locker. One's yours, you know that.
Yeah. Well, you also said there was a nick on the fabric or something, so.
Yeah.
Instead of buying XXXL pantyhose in the US, which they will probably sell.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't have a problem with that.
I would just want to see how this is.
That looks good.
Yeah, and come join our Discord for all the daily shenanigans of this, that, and everybody. And Happy New Year, and hope everybody survived, kept all their digits, isn't too hungover.
No, I don't. I don't mix liquors anymore, so I don't get hungover. That's the worst when you start, wine, beer, and liquor and whatever else have you.
Well, you can, but you have to do it in a scale, right? You can't start with like vodka and then do beer and then do wine.
No, that's
like you can start with beer and then maybe do wine and then maybe do vodka, but you can't do that in reverse because then you'll be barfing for sure.
Yeah, no, I was good. Went and had a cigar and watched the clock turn and went home. Got some chicken.
Chicken.
It was a good chicken too.
Wait, that's still at that same pizza or chicken place you've now come to like?
Yeah. I don't even tell them what to order. I just walk in and the sandwich just shows up. I just pay for it.
Sweet.
It's great.
I totally forgot last night that you actually don't have access to your Instagram, or don't care to get access to your Instagram anymore.
I tried and it doesn't on this phone. It doesn't want to work. Oh, you did that? I don't have anything. Well, I could have done it on the theater because I got me one too.
Well, we've been doing this for what, 2-3 years now,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
thought,
you got
ha,
them both.
you don't have 90s out, so I win.
Damn you to hell. Next year it has to change.
But yeah,
man.
the amount of people that actually were afraid for the tweeters is like, they actually hold quite a lot. Like, they don't really even move with this.
No, it's not the best for it, but
well, that's why you do it once a year.
Exactly, and you don't do it while they go up. You just have it when it's up.
No,
or put it on when they're already tweeters are out.
I mean, so, I don't remember if I did it last year with the tweeters down or up. I'm now gonna have to go look for that.
I don't remember. I think it was with tweeters down. I think it was tweeters down. I'm gonna bet on that. That it was tweeters down. So.
Probably. God, when was this? This is like a long ass time ago. Feels like 2022 took forever.
Well, you posted a lot then. That's basically where it's at.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was tweeters down at the time.
Yeah.
But with the harmony slightly open.
Coming up. Oh, you just did it manually?
Yeah.
Nice.
Thought it looked cool. Wow, that's so weird looking back at that, because I almost don't remember the wall being white behind the TV anymore.
That's funny. Yeah, life changes and stuff. That's what it is.
Wait, this was 3 years ago. So maybe I forgot.
So we didn't do last year?
I don't remember now. It says last time I put this up was 156 weeks ago. So it's 3 years ago.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a while back.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so was it your theater purchase a Christmas gift, a New Year's gift?
Just pretty much both, I guess. I have the TV in the foyer here, but I just can't put it together because essentially I bought the last theater that was in stock before so I just put it together. They had 4 floor stands in stock. So I'm like, you know what? I already want it on the floor anyways. So I put it on the floor stand. And I took a 55 because that was the only one left. So I got the wings coming and the Vesa mount on January 10th, hopefully, as the delivery note says. So then I'll be able to put it together and have a 65 inch. It's going to be huge in this little apartment because I moved in the meantime as well since the podcast, I guess, since the last podcast. And yeah, so this is good. The sound of this thing is just insane, by the way. Like, I don't know if you ever just play with it on its own or not.
Yes, because it is amazing.
It's absolutely insane. Like those little few moments that you get with it at the client's home, you can't really listen to it the way you would listen to it as it's your own, because there's just no way. Like, you're being fucking rude, right? Like literally you're being rude. Yeah. Because you would just, like, I had it pretty loud here, not like, crazy loud, but it was loud enough that I was walking around like, holy Christ, like there's a lot of bass in this thing. And it's insane. I have a Blab 11 that I fixed the amplifier chassis in, which is, I think, now the last one that I've ever sold to a person from our B&O shop in Calgary. So because all of them were changed. Mm-hmm. So I tied the Lab 11 into the theater. I just moved it around. It measures it weird. It measures it at double the distance. Like, it's 2.1 meters from the microphone, and it measured it at 4.2. And it did it twice, because I did it on the table where the computer is. I put that egg here, and then I put it like right beside where the lamp is, and on the side of the theater, just to see what would happen acoustically. But it doesn't need it. Like, you can't really tell that the subwoofer's going, really. It does equalize a little bit in the dead spots, right? Because you have louder at the front and louder at the back of the wall. So right where I sit here, it's kind of like almost a dead zone. But if you move a little bit closer to the theater, it's unbelievable. And also if you go to the settings and you fuck around with those virtualize, those 4 drivers, if you put them to virtual, it is insane what it does. I can't wait to book my freaking storage, and I'm gonna get the 18s for the back. I'm pulling those out. Those are coming out for sure.
Speaking of that double distance thing, I think this is like potentially an app issue.
You think
because,
so?
Well, if you look on the
measures off the theater.
Yes, but if you look at the dB measurement, if you go to the speaker itself, it's half of what it says in the main screen.
Oh, really?
So my right 50 was at minus 1.5 dB, and you click on it, and then it says 0.75 dB minus. And it's like, but you can't even set it to 0.75.
Yeah, that is weird. I haven't played with it. Obviously, I don't have my 90s out, so I can't really play with it on that level. But oddly enough, if you disconnect the power link and you forget to delete the speaker from the app, it's still a ghost speaker. It always shows up now. Which is weird. So I have to I'm just going to factory reset the thing, I guess. But other than that, I would have to plug in the Lab 11 again to the PowerLink 4 and go in and delete it, right?
Yeah.
Which is goofy. But other than that, I got no complaints. It's a sick system. I think that because I've been reading on ROS and stuff, like there's an I guess open request for change, I guess what it's called, where to make the volume button or the middle white LED blink when you do volume adjustment when it's in a music mode. I think that's a great idea. I think they should definitely do that. I don't know how many people would appreciate that, but because the screen is off, so you can't really tell what volume it's on, right? And you don't really walk up to the glass to see how many dots is up, right? But if you just go remote and just like it blinks, like on the old BeoVisions, the green light would blink if you were listening to in the AV mode, right? The green light would blink to let you know that I'm taking the commands. That's basically all.
I guess that makes sense. I just never really noticed because I generally tend to use the Halo for that.
Well, yeah, I have the Halo here, but
on the Halo itself, you see where you are in.
Yeah, that's right. But with the remote, you can't, right? But I just would wish to see that feedback or something like this is a maybe 5 or 6 year old remote chassis as far as the guts are going, and it's very slow comparatively to the new remotes. Like if I just press list, look how long it took.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and that's like not weak batteries or anything. It's just like this thing took a lot of updates in the face.
If 1, 2, 3. Like I press on 3, obviously. So I'm pressing now.
Yeah. No, this is like now.
Wow, it actually has to it has to wake up a little bit.
But yeah, it's nothing bad, but I think that I'm gonna replace it with a brand new chassis, and this one's coming into the toolbox.
Are you gonna have to measure out all the glass again?
Fuck. You know what though? I noticed because I've done a lot of theaters also with remotes or Bio remotes, I guess. The glass is improved. The glass is improved for sure. So
yay, you listened, Vino. Thank you.
Well, they had to do something about that, man. It was just terrible. But it works now. So I'm gonna get me a new chassis for this. But yeah, the back to theater, man, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I cannot wait to put more speakers on it. That's it's just sick.
Sorry, I'm just going.
What are you looking for?
Frederick said he bought some or got some gold H95s for Christmas.
Oh, nice. Yeah, those are
uh,
nice headphones, but I don't know. I still like the portals. I'm sorry.
oh yeah, me too.
I just get more utility out of them. I'm actually very curious because my computer's, semi-portable. Once I get the 65-inch set up on the top of this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna connect HDMI from this computer and try me some Left 4 Dead.
On the theater.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna play that game on that, or some Far Cry or whatever. Like 65-inch screen, bro. It's gonna be sick.
I bet. Yeah, I haven't still haven't gamed on any of that.
You
Just
should, man. I want to try it. I would want to see what's the latencies and whatever. Like how does it behave versus a normal like PC, right, or a console, I guess,
yeah.
or whatever. Like if it's connected directly to the screen, or is it better to have it connected into the theater?
Well, I think you'll have a latency choice in that case. You want a bit more screen latency, but the screen in sync with the sound, or do you
Hmm.
want a bit of sound latency where the screen is more accurate to when stuff actually happens, but the sound is slightly behind? And it
I couldn't
depends.
deal with that. No.
Yeah, well, it depends on how much it is, right? But if you're like the ultra FPS type gamer,
Oh yeah, I'm none of that, bro. Fuck. I should wear glasses and I don't, so I'm not too I'm not too concerned over that. I think I'll be fine.
I mean, of all the gold colors B&O does, by the way, these H95s in gold are actually kind of nice.
They are. I like them.
I like this color combo because it's slightly different, much better than the 28s in gold
Hmm.
and whatever that.
Frederick says they sound very great, except they have a hissing sound in transparency mode. Hmm. I would see on your app if you have the software up to date also, because there were updates for these. I know for a fact because I've done ours in the shop a few times this year. So,
Yeah, and I don't think they automatically go on headphones. You have to like manually initialize it.
and yeah, because it takes like 3-4 minutes. Firmware is up to date. Okay. Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, B&O also did some what you call it, Chinese New Year collection stuff. I mean, obviously it's red, golden, sort of off-white, creamy color again. Maybe some jade thrown in.
Hmm. That's nice.
Sweet. Adam got a balance. What color did you get, Adam?
Balance is nice. Balance is also insane sound, man. Like I had it in the little Airbnb when I first moved to Montreal, with that silver one.
Yeah.
Boy, like that thing can put down like hard.
Yeah, it's ready to party.
What I realized is this entire building is basically built out of concrete because it's like 60 or 40 or 50 years old. I don't know how long. So I can juice the theater pretty good here.
Sweet, he got the aluminium base one. Nice.
The proper one.
Yeah. I mean,
Man,
I love
I
that one. That they should have led with that, quite honestly.
I think so, but I maybe the decision was that it would compete as a BeoLab speaker. That's why they went softer wood and all the nonsense around it with the marble crooked logos.
There's only a few. Most of them were straight.
I bet you those crooked logo ones are probably the hardest to find as collector edition. Because I would want one of those.
Really?
It's like having a misprinted penny, right? You know,
Yeah, no.
to me, that's what that is.
I mean, a lot of British people will know what I'm talking about, but I found a lot of shillings.
Ah, shillings.
Yeah, that was an actual currency.
I remember Was it in what country was it? Was it in
UK.
UK had shillings?
Yeah, like that was less than a cent. Like you had denominations, well, a cent, penny. You had a denomination below 1 penny.
Wow. Wow.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
what was it?
crazy.
12 pence to a penny or something like that? Or 12 shilling to.
To a penny. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh yeah. I would not want to carry out because they had sacks, not wallets back then.
Yeah, more or
Those are
less.
pretty nice. Those are, you know what, those H95s in red gold and remind me of the DJ Khaled edition. Remember the H6s?
Yeah.
I think it was H6s.
Yeah. He had a tour bus with it. There was a long joke thread about them recently on the Discord.
Oh, okay. But
Because
yeah, no,
he
I
had a whole tour bus, and it was like on the side was B&O and the H6s. And you
that's
obviously have
funny.
him like doing that sort of thing.
So yeah, these are nice. But that's only sold in China, I take it.
Yeah, but I think if you ask for them, you can get them here.
Those are interesting.
Yeah, I kind of like the back side of them.
Hmm.
It makes the white of the B&O logo pop rather nicely.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, apparently
Oh,
it's all
sorry.
available in Europe too. So,
Interesting. They were on sale in UK. Adam says, okay, so yeah, they're.
maybe it
I
was a
think they were.
misorder, and it's like, fuck, what do I do with all this stuff? I better put it on sale.
It went quick. I'm sure it went quick
Yeah.
because it's probably a limited production of them too. Like it's not something that they'll have in their portfolio for. I'm seriously debating to just take the theater. I mean, the after the podcast, take the screen and just put some padding on the theater and sit it on top and give a shit
Yeah.
because I'm really curious. That's funny, man. I can't believe that he's got the headphones on the bus.
Captain over on Twitch says the jade color would look nice with the red. Yeah, I agree.
They had green H6s like when the first BeoPlay was around. I think what was it, 2012? I think so, 2012 or
Something like that,
2013
yeah.
when they came out with the green limited edition green H6s. I bought a pair of those. They came with the leather bag because the other ones the leather bag was like another $260 or whatever extra. So yeah, those were a good deal. But
You make tabs for things, and then you can't find stuff in the Discord.
where on Discord?
Yeah. Oh well. Somebody, if you want to find what the H95s in actual in real life for the Chinese New Year thing looked like, it's somewhere on Discord. I'll see.
Aren't they on the B&O's website then, or they're
Yeah,
on?
but it's always this not real picture stuff, right?
Fair. Well, aren't all of them now renderings anyways? If you
More or
think about it.
less. I think they technically make pictures, but
Because like all the car catalogs and stuff you see online, that's everything is rendered 100%. There's no real pictures like it used to be.
so this is them. It's basically the golden chassis with a custom red fabric and leather, and
They're
then
nice.
carrying case that's also red.
Yeah, those are nice.
I mean, I do like that carrying case a lot, but it's for me personally, it's like I would never really use the carrying case.
If you travel, I guess.
Yeah, but if I
I don't know.
travel, I
Like,
put them on my head in the airplane. I don't put them in. Like, I want that noise cancellation the whole thing, the whole time.
yeah, fair point. I don't know. I even when I walked around with H6s, or I mean the portals here, I always carried the bag because you get in the bar, you take them off, like sit there with the headphones like a doofus. And
if I'm ever that portable, it's always the E8s, which I guess are the EXs now, but I still have the E8 3.0s, and like if I'm that out and about, it's this stuff, because if I like they're what 3-4 years old now, and if they break, lose them or whatever, it's shit. But I care a lot less than damaging these.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
No, and it's much more affordable too. You can wear a hat over your head instead of
yeah, and it's well. Didn't you have like the snowstorm of death recently there?
Oh, bro, it was insane. It was absolutely insane. My mom got stuck here for 3 days.
I mean, was it like -20 or something?
No, well, Calgary was fucked up. They had like -38, 37.
Celsius?
Yeah. And plus wind,
Jesus.
so it was like -44 at some points. That my buddy was texting me like temperatures. It's insanity, right? And my mom landed here on Friday, right in the dead middle of the snowstorm here in Montreal. Like I think we had almost 30 centimeters of snow over one day. Like no bullshit of a lie, and it was +2 all of a sudden. So everything started melting. It was like pools and pools and pools of water. And
God, it's like you need skis. Like a car is not useful anymore.
Oh man, and like she completely underestimated. Like at least she brought like winter shoes that are taller, because man, like you couldn't walk across the street because right at the crossings it just puddles up. Fucking people jumping like gazelles, like in those documentaries and shit. Except you don't got gators coming at you and whatnot.
I can just see you go.
Like a buffalo run, right? Because everybody wants to cross, but nobody wants to go. And then he just takes the leap, and fuck, it was funny, but not right, because like somebody's always gonna get splashed. And yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time having her over. And yeah, but Calgary was insane when she was here. It was very cold. I don't know what its temperature is right now, but here it's 4 degrees. It's raining again. Like everybody's weirded out about how weird the winter is in here. So like I don't mind it being this way instead of having -20 with like snow breeze and nonsense.
Apparently, if you're in the Netherlands, in Olufsen, in Roermond, you can get a massive deal on some portals. That's what the captain just said. So if you're in the market for some portals, it's probably the Xbox version, but the captain's saying €200 for a pair. It's like,
damn.
Fuck me, that's a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Even if they're Xbox ones, who cares? You just buy a dongle.
Yeah.
For the PC, like I had, and no problem. I still have the dongle, but it's in a storage locker somewhere.
Jesus, that's a really good deal.
Mm-hmm. Too bad I don't need any of that.
Yeah, nor do I. I mean, I have mine, but they are an actual what you call it, a B&O dealer. It's not some secondhand whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm. Sigmund, welcome to BeoTalk.
Hi Sigmund, welcome to being a BeoTalker. Thank you very much. For anybody that doesn't know what that is, there's a channel membership right next to the subscribe button. You can become a channel member. There's tons of content behind the paywall now.
Nice.
There's God knows how many Monday shows, and even the first 80 BeoTalks are behind there now.
Oh wow, you can go right back all the way.
Yeah.
Watch me with my dark hair still.
it got a bit I don't know. I recently, like a few months ago, I looked back on like show 2 or 3, and I was like, oh God, what are we doing? And it's like, oh, I better put this behind a paywall.
And that was beginnings, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
and
was.
back then I
I got
still
no
had.
regrets. I got no regrets. We got here the way we got here, and we're here to stay. And proof's in the pudding, and that's it. And now I think what I really appreciate the fact that we've been here so long that we kind of gain the respect of the company regardless because they just
I think
we're
people
public
lurk. Yes.
and we're public, right? It's just like when people say something, we say it and it stays on YouTube and it's just what it is for at least the time being till it goes behind the paywall. But I just appreciate the fact that we're now starting to be taken more seriously. That like we're not, you know, trying to do no good for the company. I love the company. I don't ever want it to fail or go bad or you know
No,
that's
I
just
want to see it survive another 100 years.
that's right. So for me, it's just I want it to always perpetuate and go forward because I love the design and love the functionality of it. And quite honestly, there is not a company on this planet that is integratable that far back with itself
Yeah,
for anything.
1973.
Yeah, but if you go back to I guess you can still do it with the MCL converter and an LML converter, so you can move the
It's
record if you.
basically the entire back catalog.
So you can't do it with any other piece of electronics. So and that's what I like about it, and also I think the one of the things that it's most undersold, and it's not just in our shop, but in all the other stores that I've seen and visited, it's the Bio Living Intelligence. For some reason, people are a bit scared of it, but then people like myself that have it, it's very tough to work with it if the product doesn't have full support for it. You can do like very basic primitive dog bark commands, but you can't really get intricate.
By the way, I saw a question on the Discord that I have no clue about because I don't have
Mm,
one. But Raslaw was asking. So he has a Beosound 3000 connected to a converter,
hmm
and when he plays CDs, he can start it from his V1, and he can join it through his theater, but he can't start it from his theater. Is that a setup thing, or is that
That's the limitation right now.
so? That's still sort of software.
That software, yeah, from what I've been reading, because I've read through more or less every single article in the theater there was to read, and yeah, there are. That's why I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna get one and start playing with it on my level of what I wanted to do and how to do it, and also tuning. It's interesting how sometimes it does it or what it does, but
Because he said while it's once it's playing, he can skip tracks from the theater, but he just can't start it from the theater.
it's the same limitation that was on the Eclipse when it first came out with the software, whatever point zero, and you could join already playing Bios. At the time, I had a client that had a BeoMaster 5 or a BeoSound 5 and a 9000.
Mm-hmm.
So he had four sources. He had CD, radio, net
Mm-hmm.
radio, and net music. And neither of them he could do till there was a later software update that came out, and then you could actually make him his favorite buttons. So what I would also try, I don't know if you have tried that, but I don't know if it works on the theater because I've like I said, I haven't really played them, and most of the favorites that I had assigned to the theater was through the app. I never really held the favorites button and wait for it to like toot, toot, right and remember.
I don't
But
think the
that's
theater
how
does that anymore, really.
I don't think so. But that's how I was able to program the Eclipse. That when we played radio, then I had him you hold the my button one, CD was my button two, and net music and net radio three and four, and then he could just press and hold the my button and the Eclipse would fire up. It would just say net music or whatever he would press for a command and the music would start playing or sound would start coming out. But
Hmm.
in a theater, I do not think you can actually long press to save a my button functionality at this point of time because everything is done through the app.
Yeah, and you need to assign it a source or thing to do.
Shit, I'm out of coffee. God damn it to hell.
uh,
But that's one thing. Also, what I've done with mine, because there's really no like a standby button on it, right? I assigned my button one, which is just one dot, to be a standby. So when you press it, it shuts the thing off without me going through the remote, or just as an experiment to see how it works and so on. So yeah, I'm playing with the my buttons quite a bit. Once I January 10th, so that's going to be what, on a 2 podcasts from now, I will have a panel sitting up here, and then I'll know more.
Sweet. And you're getting the floor stand, right?
It is on the floor stand.
Oh, I thought it was sitting on something. You shoulder blocked it.
No. It's on the floor stand here.
Sweet.
So yeah, it's waiting, and there's the TV. See that box? So
one of my sort of, I don't know, more insane ideas with a enormous panel like 83 or potentially someday 97 is to get a floor stand, but just for the theater, and still have the TV wall mounted. So you still have that listening position where the thing turns, but the screen is so massive already with 83. It's so enormous. It kind of doesn't matter if the TV doesn't move.
But well, it's also a large panel to move. It would be just too abrupt, I think, in my eyes. I'd really rather have it the way that it is now. I wish that like they had an extra function, not a function, but I wish there was an option where you could buy the theater, or pay extra. Let's say $1,000 for B&O would be the proper way. And instead of having the second glass panel as dummy, have it as a display. If you just have it in a table stand mode, right?
Yes.
So like a Halo remote type of thing that you can actually go in there and touch screen and see the metadata and all that jazz. Like, so it would more or less start to become an audio master in a sense, right?
Yeah, because you could very well use it on its own.
Yes. So I think that would be something that, like, I don't know, as a 2.0 version of it, because I don't know, I wouldn't redesign a damn thing on it, man. The thing looks fucking absolutely beautiful. It's insane how it sounds like, and I've convinced now two clients, I'm the third one, to get the walnut grills. So we're conspiring to get 3 walnut grills.
Apparently they're $350 more US.
Yeah, they're 2,100 Canadian versus I think $1,700 for the oak and whatever else color. I found that the dark oak is absolutely too black. It almost looks like ebony. It doesn't look good on a silver. It doesn't look good. It looks good on anthracite. That's where it really shines. Well,
I still kind of want to see how it looks here on my regular alu.
I didn't like it. I had a setup like that, and that's the lady that she's switching that panel or that cover from that dark oak into a walnut.
Yeah. Well, I also have like a ton of light coming from above, so that may also help a little bit.
It just, in my eyes, it blends into the black of the grill way too fast and way too much for what it for that wood.
Yeah, I mean, so far I do like the normal oak. It's not a priority at all because I don't.
No,
I'm not happy to spend that much for a cover again.
Maybe trade one in.
Yeah, maybe. Friend of the show, BeoJohn. He used to have a stage here. Remember, he had 9s with the gates around it to keep the kids away from the speakers.
Yes.
As in, like, he literally bought like dog gates or something to keep the babies.
I know the doggy gate. Those fucking hilarious. But like, we do what you gotta do to save your speakers, man.
And then there was a stage there, and the kid went like, pulled himself up and went bleh, on.
Oh yeah,
it was like
I remember
a puke
that.
mark.
So now he's gotten to a theater.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Even with the 8,000s, or I mean 18s, it looks awesome on the front.
Yeah, he's getting oak covers for the 18 soon, but I actually kind of don't mind it like this. Because
no, it kind of blends with the TV.
Yeah, the TV is also quite a lot of black. So,
but then again, it would bring up that whole wood texture quite nicely if you put oak lamellas on those 18s. I think it'll look hot. It'll look more money, I think. Because the black ones are cool, but I would go with the wood on top of it
I
just
mean,
to match the.
it may also be partially why I like it, because the 18s are so high up compared to, like, if they were lower down and the oak was more in line with each other.
Well, it looks like he's got it lined up with the top of the TV. That's what I guess the intent was.
Yeah. God,
So
that's some finagling. It's easier to do in drywall than it is in brick, because as soon as your drill bit walks, you're like, God, I'm this 5 millimeter off now.
yeah, dude, I didn't like it here because there is a couple times there are instances that we had to drill through like the old bricks and shit, and it's just oh my god, that kind of really sucks the fun out of the day. It really does. But you get through it and you do it. But yeah, that's an awesome setup, man. So now the kids that are growing older, is that the level in the background there?
Yes.
I'm thinking of just getting rid of mine because it's in the kitchen here, but there's no point for it. Like the theater just walks all over everything in here, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I think people underestimate how fucking loud the theater can be if you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can literally tune it for the kitchen if you want to.
That's what I did. I tuned it right by the stove and stuff. So
did you just tune it, or is it in a sense that the floor stand also moves?
Of course, the floor stand moves.
I mean, maybe this is something to do before, I don't know, next week, let's say, but because they say they do a lot with beamforming, and then use the side drivers and stuff to compensate. Like, how big is the audible difference versus like the whole theater turning versus just having it straight and putting the mic there?
I've done both. It's way more accurate when it tilts, or I mean, it swings over. Like way more accurate, and it accounts for the fact that like the let's say the left side firing is basically almost shooting it directly into the wall because it's turned. It's almost max radius, which I'm gonna pull the theater up a little further so I can actually get full 35 degrees of motion just for the shits and giggles. Because then, if the weather continues the way it is, I'm gonna smoke cigars on the balcony. Then I can turn the thing 35 degrees and I can watch it through the balcony door, basically, without any issues. And you can in a LG you can actually connect the headphones in. So you can Bluetooth and listen to the headphones through basically the theater setup. And I had tried it in the shop and it works. So also I got the G2 panel because I'm not doing all the fucking.
You're not going to be sitting there with rattles.
not dealing with that. I'm doing it properly.
Yeah, I think if you're on a wall, you're probably okay with either. If you're in the TV experience thing, go for the better panel.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Well, it's not actually the panel that's better. It's a better chassis, really.
It does apparently have a better picture, which, like I said, I'm not a guy to ask that question. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm going to reset up my Netflix account again, or maybe do the Prime shit, whatever, and rent out some good movies and give it a whirl.
Download Plex if you need access to my Plex server.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. But what I forgot to do actually, I forgot to tune it with the curtains drawn, because that makes a huge difference acoustically here. Yeah, but they kind of black out the room, so I didn't do that. But yeah, man, this thing is it's very interesting how accurate it gets to the tuning points.
So, what volume have you put it up to? Did you go max volume straight away? Or?
No. I put the max volume on the app to 80 instead of 90, just in case, slidey fingers and shit. And also, I find that the touch interface is very dangerous to how fast you can go bananas with it versus remote control, where you can see it progress. Like, if you touch it to the end scale, it just automatically jumps to volume, let's say 60 or whatever, or 80 or whatever you have it. So.
Yeah, especially if you don't, if you touch it once, then it's like it goes up slowly. But if you somehow walk by and sort of go double pressure, it just goes whoop in one go.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, that's loud.
Yeah, it's not fun. So I don't, I don't really use it because I don't have fucking fingerprints on it and shit. So I usually control it through Halo or the remote one. and yeah, it works like a charm. I really like it. But
And it is a good soundbar. Have your opinions on this design changed at all now you've actually looked at it in real life so much?
I've looked at it also through the ROS of like, the technicians' videos and stuff. I am thoroughly impressed how much they were able to jam into that thing, man. I'm thoroughly impressed how much they like as far as the electronics, essentially the layout of the electronics, the heat management, because I did give it good shit over, like period of 2-3 hours. I've listened to it on like volume 60, 65 because there was nobody around. So I gave it a good juicing, and it was, to see where it heats up, and it doesn't even sweat it really.
No,
I think the
65
only
seems to
way,
be like sort of like, oh, this is normal, which is
yeah,
like,
but it's
ooh.
fucking loud, bro. And like it's so loud in here that I'm like, whoa, I don't think I can go any further. But it is absolutely insane what that performs like.
Yeah.
When it comes to it.
Sigmund asks, question, is there something that will replace the Beolab 70 and B&O program in the future? This related both to sound and price range. Price range is very hard to comment on because the closest thing you'll probably find is a balance, and that is slowly eking up due to inflation, chip shortages, and whatever else other nonsense that's been happening over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because am I misremembering, or did the basic black one start out at like €1,750 and now it's like $2,500 or something?
I think so. I don't remember quite honestly, but it was never over €1,900 in the beginning. Like it never went over 1,900. I remember that.
But the 17s, I think, started at like 3.5 or something, and they ended at like 4.5. I think something like that. I have to look it up. They also went up, but not as dramatically. So it depends on where you think the 17s ended and started. But if they were to make the exact same speaker today, as in retool and restart, it would be at least 10% more than what they last sold it for. At least, if not more like 20% more.
But I don't know, honestly, if there's anything down the pipe. Because the way that the theater is working, and if the Mozart is only being utilized to like, what is it, 50% of its capabilities as they're advertised, and then they do develop surround over Wi-Fi, so network surround. Is there really a need for a 17-like speaker, or could you just hang 2 levels on the wall instead?
Holy shit, the set used to cost £2,600 when new.
17s?
Yeah, for a pair. That's basically the same price of a balance now.
But it's also the same price of 2 levels.
Yes. So will they make something as capable as the 17 for similar money to the balance? No.
No, I don't think so.
Which is annoying because I want them to, but...
you got enough 17s, bro.
No, I don't want more 17s per se. I just want them to make something that is attainable. Because I think the current pricing, where their lowest tier speaker, which is a weird thing to say, but are 18s, and they're like $7,500 to start with. Which is
if
like,
you go cheap on grills.
Fuck me, that's a lot of money to start. Like, make something in the $5,000 to $6,000 range, please. I mean, also make something, please, that now we have full-on Atmos that's mountable to the ceiling. Potentially. Like, it doesn't, like 17s, they don't have to be mounted to the ceiling, but
but to that argument, like, you have the celestials and palatials that you can throw on the ceiling, and
but they never push them ever.
But that's something that you have to design for, right? Because you got to put the back boxes in, and then there's a lot more to it than, because you can't have the control over
those up here.
No, well, you could probably do like lap 12s, 12-1s.
Yeah, but again, that's legacy products.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, now that we're full on Atmos, we don't have height speakers.
Shape, the only solution really to put
Again,
the
you have to design for
amplifiers
that
offsite.
because the amplifiers need to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, where would I, like, if I put a shape up here, where would I put the amp? Like, I'm going to have cables running all across the ceiling.
Well, you're gonna have fucking cables going into it anyways
Yeah, okay, but
from one side. I don't know where you would put it. Probably in the kitchen part where there's a little bit of a
yeah,
drywall where you had the 9000 hanging,
yeah, maybe.
and then in the cabinet. Look at him think already.
No, this is why I'm sticking with 17s, right? Because
Yeah.
I really like 17s. They're great speakers, but I just want them to have a lower point of entry, if nothing else, than 18s.
But also 18s you can't mount on the ceiling because that's just impossible
Yeah.
unless you
But
drove
then
through the back
do
chassis.
two birds with one stone type of thing, right? Like make something of a smaller chassis that even it may not be ceiling mounted, but maybe like
Let
technically these are
STB
wall
figure it out.
mounted,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just tilted down. Like make them wall mountable and tiltable in a bracket, right? Because the tilt is in the bracket.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a hard sell. I don't know where they're going with what they're doing as a current portfolio because like you don't really see new stereo speaker sets coming out other than like the 28s came out, but that's would you even consider that a speaker set? Like it's a smart speaker to begin with. You could just buy one and it works on its own. It plays mono, but it works on its own.
Mm-hmm.
You put two of them together. Depends on your network in the house. They are good. If they're not good, then they're just not good. But it's not because the speakers are faulty, it's because your network's shit. And man, do I have a hard time explaining that over here.
I
That
think
when
you
the
have a
when the
lot.
network
I think everybody will have a hard time explaining that and or accepting that.
and accepting is the worst part because it's like, well, everything else works. I'm like, yes, but that's your basic browsing network. But if you go to the media sharing network where there's a like ton of information going through, that little old chip that you got in the back of your freaking cabinet that you got from your provider, it can't handle that, and you'll never see it till you start doing the BeoLink in network, and you start putting more than 2 3 devices on, and it's just not good.
So for Sigmund, these rear 17s are on Wisa and they work fine. You can see the bottom edge of a BLab 19 down here, also on Wisa, and it works fine with the theater.
Did you get it resolved with the subwoofer,
Yes.
the speaker allocation? Because I tried it in the store and it just found it no problem.
It wasn't even the allocation that was wrong. It was just
The filters that applied.
it somehow got a full range signal. Like it treated it like was a full range speaker, and then took that as the baseline and turned everything else down.
Mm.
But that's resolved and works fine now. So, but again, it works differently than any other BeoVision before it with the 19, because normally if you with Harmony, Eclipse, and older, if you used Wisa, the left, right, or LR switch didn't matter at all.
Mm-hmm.
But with the theater, it does, and it can either be left or right and not on LR at all.
Why, if you do it on LR, then what happens?
It gets two signals somehow, and that's part of the reason why it sees it as a full range speaker.
Interesting.
So, I don't know. It fucks with the room correction and everything. So I don't get it. I don't really get why this is so different, because the manuals are basically for TV solutions older than the theater.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wire it, it again doesn't seem to matter because you can manually set what channel goes there. So it's like, huh?
That's interesting. Because I played with the sub here. Yeah, like I said, the measurements were weird. I corrected the measurements, but yeah, the sub was kicking, man. Like it's interesting how it works, how
Yeah, so
that
if
thing
you have
measures
it on
itself.
LR and Wisa, the sub will be set to minus 0 dB, and everything else will then try to match that in anything above 250 hertz, meaning everything else will be minus 10 or something like that.
Oh wow, yeah, that's interesting that it does that.
So,
What software are you in the beta?
no.
Oh, I put this in the beta.
I mean, like what Sandeep says, there should be a technical sound guide out at some point, because it's everything is so different.
Hmm.
Sorry, I have
No
to.
hardware differences related to Wisa between BeoLab 17 and 18. They have the same amount of antennas in the speaker. It's exactly the same modules. I believe those exact same modules are still being used. They're in 20s. I don't know if the 90s and 50s they have them improved or not. Well, I haven't really seen inside the 90s yet, but no, that's all the same hardware and hopefully software if you needed to replace something.
Yeah,
So,
but there was only really one Wisa software update,
mm-hmm,
and that was a stability thing.
yes.
And after a certain time, they came preloaded from the factory, but
Mm-hmm.
your
But yeah,
dealer.
the speakers in the field you could go and update
Yeah,
manually.
because these 17s were on the old one. These are on the newer software, and it works fine.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is one of these things that you can't really do yourself, because you need the old tool
Service
and
tool.
computer, and your computer can only be on the 32-bit operating system or something like that.
No, you can do it. Like I have my tablet that I do service off of. It's a 32-bit program, but it's on a 64-bit machine.
Hmm.
It works no problem. But it starts to get scary now. Like if you go and update like a Biosystem 3, like sometimes they just I don't know if it's just so rooted in the electronics, like the way that the program was, that if you change it, it really does not like it. It really doesn't like it. So I don't fuck with software updates on the older systems anymore at all. I just if you need a puck table update, that's already risky enough. Because
Yeah.
Apple TV, or they go Roku instead, or they change the Blu-ray player. So Biosystem 3 people, bro, they still got the Blu-rays, man. They rocking that shit hard.
Well, it's not a bad system, and I understand if you don't feel like spending the money, but it
I
is
think it's a
what,
great system, man. Like,
15 years old now? 20?
yeah. No, it wouldn't be 20 years old. I think Biosystem 1 was obsoleted with the BeoVision 5. So BeoVision 4, we're talking 2004, 2005 when that came out.
So it's
Because
19
BeoVision,
years, something like that,
so
18, 19.
BeoVision 9 was the first one, I think, with the Biosystem 3. And then it was the BeoVision panels with the Biosystem 3 separate, with the theater, with the Biosystem 3 on the wall bracket or whatever on the system cabinet. So I would say about 2005, 2006 is when it came out. Still a great system, man. You can see the limitations now based on the video feed from the news and whatever. Like it doesn't really catch up or keep up.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of normal TV programs are now in Dolby Digital 5.1 here.
Hmm.
Like, it'll be able to do that, but anything more than that will be a bit funky.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't, like I said, don't watch regular or don't consume regular TV. For me, it's
Yeah, forget
YouTube and.
about Atmos and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
I guess you can still do PCM, but
Yeah. Do you want to?
yeah.
Sometimes you have to. Actually, I came across this goofy thing in forget what is it, Helix Player, which is the company here that provides cable. I set up a theater with the Lab 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and 20s were in Wisa because there was no way to run the cable to them. And I run the setup, run the configuration, blah blah, the microphone thing. I turn on the TV. The theater's completely off, and stereo's coming out only from the 20s, not full stereo, like they're going as channels in a surround that there should be vocals coming out of the theater. Like, what the fuck? Reran the thing again, deleted the listening position, reran it again. Same result. I'm like, this is impossible. Ran a listening position just with the theater. Fucking thing turns on. There's sound coming out of it. So I put the 20s back, sound disappears. I'm like, what in the hell? So I'm like, okay, there's no way it's the theater. There's some funky going on in that goofy ass player. So I, changed to fucking English first of all, so I can operate. And
Bonjour.
Oh Christ, man! It's just like I know where the language is, and it's Canada English, bro. And I go into the audio menu of the bloody thing, and it had some smart surround shit turned on it by default.
Smart surround?
I'm like, what in the hell? So I put it back. I put it back to stereo. It was auto and stereo. I put it to stereo. Everything kicked on. I'm like, what is going on? But it just wouldn't work in smart surround. But that's obviously, it's not the theater's fault, because like I switched the source to Apple TV. Apple TV works no problem.
Yeah, I bet you the company, the naming says it's smart surround. It's probably doing some sort of
funky bullshit to it, because it probably thinks that it's smart surrounding into the TV, right, panel that is incapable of anything.
Is the Beosound level using Wisa? No, the Beosound level doesn't use any Wisa at all.
Yes, it's Wi-Fi. It's just a network-based product.
So if you want anything, I think I said this last week. No, we weren't on last week. 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
I learned that the reason the balance and level, etc., most likely will never ever have Wisa is because they interfere with the normal
Wi-Fi,
and that needs to be about a meter apart, which is why Lab 90s, 50s, 28s can have both, because they're tall enough to have that separation. In the 28s, even like on that top tube, you can just put Wi-Fi here and Wisa there, or vice versa.
Sigmund, you should, if Wi-Fi equals not that good, then I think you should start looking into even on Amazon and buy the Ubiquiti stuff, the Unify network gear, man. And honestly, if you buy a few access point antennas and a PoE switch, maybe it'll cost you €1,000, but look at it as basically having hot water in your house. You know what I mean? Because if the network's no good, it's the experience will never be good. And especially if you have, like I said earlier, if you have the provider's router system going off of that, it's not going to be able to keep up with the amount of traffic that all of a sudden is created by devices sharing and pulling music from one another and so on and so forth with the multi-ed system. Like you start to get into, you get at least a minimum of 25 megabits per second.
Yeah.
That's the bare minimum.
Want to do it yourself, but you're not really a techie, but something that works really well with B&O, because I have it, is this Ubiquiti Amplify HD mesh set. It's the only mesh thing I would advise with B&O. Like
the mesh network is really not recommended for B&O at all.
Not like generally.
Yeah, so if it works, it works.
I've used this one now for 3+ years. Excellent coverage, and it works fine. Even the combining of bands is really nice, so it switches auto between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. But that is also nice, because then your phone doesn't have to switch between whatever network it's on. Because if, let's say, one device works better on 2.4, it'll auto go to that. But then you have to switch networks in your phone for the app to work with that product.
So
yeah, I have this. You plug it in. The setup is like it's ubiquity. Like it's like a B&O setup. They'll just walk you through it, ask basic questions that aren't too hard. If you want to be ridiculous with it, you can, and then play around, because it'll actually show you where on the signal dial where you plug them in, if they're any good, or if the placement is good.
So if I purchase BLF 17s using Wisa, I can prevent our Wi-Fi will not make any interference with the B&O setup. That's not necessarily true. Like I said, it really depends on what you're using for Wi-Fi distribution, where you live, and so on and so forth. The density of the networks covering you around. So Mikey is a perfect example of it, where his would drop out because of somebody else's network in the apartment building. So it is really, there are things that you can and there are things that you cannot control. And when it hits those parameters, then I would always hardwire. I know it's ugly. If you're skilled enough, you can hide the cables. If you got a dealer nearby, I would ask him to either give you a power link that is 3 millimeter thickness. It's very easy to hide in the cracks or whatever, or under the carpet, you don't see it. And hardwire the speakers. Then you know for a fact nothing's gonna go. But
well, the thing is, if you live in a house, this is mostly a non-issue, because you can limit
yes.
your own Wi-Fi. And by limit, I don't even mean coverage or signal strength. In the 5 gigahertz network, you just limit it to not go over, let's say, channel 60. And that leaves a bunch of channels free for the Wi-Fi Wisa to operate in. And you have a bunch of channels for the Wi-Fi to operate in, and you get best of both worlds. Yes. And in the Amplify HD Mesh thing again, it's really easy to do, because you can just go into the tab 5 gigahertz, and then it gives you a few options, amongst which is channel allocation. You just because normally it's on auto, but it'll tell you what channel it's currently using. And if it's under 60, you just take the auto switch off and it'll stay in that channel. Bob's your uncle.
That's the easiest way to do it. And yeah, like I would say, regardless of how you look at it, look into your network. And I understand the Wi-Fi acceptance factor. The shit doesn't look that good and whatever. You can hide it, most of it. But at the end of the day, would you rather put up with a shit network and have nothing to look at, or something that is discreetly put away and you have a perfect coverage in the house that everything works on?
I bet you the wife will also like it when her TV shows work everywhere.
And it's, instead of looking at the buffering wheel. So
yeah. And so there's a difference between network and internet speed, by the way. Yes. Because you can have, let's say, 20 Mbit and 5 down and 5 up. But if you can't get that anywhere because the signal is shit, then it
doesn't matter.
No.
You're still going to have a poor performance. So
because I have a gigabit up and down connection, which I get everywhere in here. But since I live in a concrete box with steel in it everywhere, in the bedroom with my old Netgear Nighthawk, with one of those antenna monstrosities.
Yeah.
I was getting less than 10 down in the bedroom.
Shit.
And with this Amplify HD thing, the same place is now 150 down or something.
So there you go. But
yeah,
you need a proper network, man. Like, regardless of how you look at it, that is the beginning of all the systems. And then, like we said earlier, Mikey said earlier, just play with the channels, allocate certain things to this, and that's it. And then you're set. And if you live in a house, and it's a non-attached, and there's no problem whatsoever. I don't even think you'd have to really worry about the channels and shit. That would just sort itself out more or less automatically.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's a solution too. You could put all your internet traffic on 2.4 gigahertz and use 5 gigahertz. Just turn it off. Nothing's on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't use your network for Wisa. Wisa is a connection channel in the same spectrum between the theater and its speakers. It
But it has
doesn't
nothing
matter
to
what your
do.
router does. Like, your router isn't involved in that.
But it does get an interference every now and then. So that's it. But you can't, like, you will never be able to see an SSID of a Beolab 17 on your network, because it doesn't have an SSID that it broadcasts. It's just tied into the Wisa protocol. So
yeah, so if you want to avoid interference, put everything on the 2.4 gigahertz network and turn the 5 gigahertz network off. That's the best way. But like I said, if you have this Amplify HD thing, what I have, well, most modern routers, really, you don't even have to do that as long as you limit the channels.
yes.
Because if it stays under 60, like Wisa operates in the 5 gigahertz spectrum, but I think it starts at 5.6 to 5.8 and is generally in channels from memory from something like 112 to 150 ish.
Something like that. I don't remember anymore, but yeah, it's up there. So, and back then it was uninterferable because nothing really existed at the time that went up this far up.
Yeah. So if you keep your Wi-Fi below that channel will be empty. So there's no space, nothing going in that space. So there won't be any interference.
But at the end of the day, like, what you're looking at, if it's a detached home, you don't really have to worry about shit. Just make sure that you don't cross more than 10 meters between the speaker and the transmitter, whatever the transmitter is, being a TV or the Beolab transmitter one. Keep it within an optic or line of sight. That was my only recommendation, really.
I'm from the theater to like this speaker here. Is about 7.5 meters, not line of sight. There's a couch and stuff in between.
Yeah, but it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should be fine. Don't overthink it. Just get yourself some 17s if that's what you got an eye on, and go from there.
Yeah, like what Sandeep says, the Amplify software and app is really fucking simple. Like,
I haven't seen that before. I'm gonna look this up. I'll put it. Amplify.
Turn the screen down. So, that's too much. God damn it. So it just shows you what's connected.
Yeah.
What speed you're doing. And then if you tap on the middle one, you get all your settings and stuff. And then you have like general internet wireless, where you can set your passwords, etc. Where was it? I think it was internet. No, it wasn't under. Here under advanced. And yeah, so normally on the top right it says 2.4 gigahertz automatic, and it'll choose its band and whatever. I let it automatically choose the 5 gigahertz network. It chose channel 44 on 80 megahertz bandwidth, and just unticked automatic, and it won't go above channel 44 anymore now. It's literally untapping something and checking if it's under 60. That's all you need to do. And you can speed test, and it'll quite literally tell you if your mesh points are in good locations, and you can, like, they're on a swivel ball, so that actually makes some difference. So you can like literally look at the app and go, if I turn it, it's like, oh, okay, now it's perfect, and just that's it. It's really fucking easy.
Do you buy that as a kit?
Yes. Well, you can. But it's
you can add more to those mesh points, I guess, right?
You have the choice of either you buy just the router, or you buy the router and one thing separately, or you can buy the kit, which is slightly cheaper with 2 mesh points. I think you can add a third, maybe a fourth. But I'm not entirely sure. But I have so much coverage, it really isn't needed. Like I said, I live in a concrete box with steel in it. I can walk to the lift elevator over there, which is 30-ish meters away.
And you still have
There's several walls, and I still get like a bar and a half of signal.
Mm-hmm.
It's good enough to keep a 1080p YouTube video going. And there's several metal doors in between as well. So
yeah.
I'm just bullying my neighbors now. How much reception I have.
Well, that's the way to do it, man. Somebody has to have a better network than others.
I mean, I can walk to, like, my storage is not on the same floor. It's a floor down. And I can just go to storage with my phone and I won't drop anything ever. Because one of the access points is in the bedroom, and then it's through the floor, through another wall, and it's still fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this entire building is using Ubiquiti. They have those. I don't know if you can see it. It's behind the theater. There's the Ubiquiti access point. I've done those. I try to pull I have a BeoLiving Intelligence here. I try to pull it in, see if it doesn't give you any network. Bastards. I also haven't tried it, but I'm gonna to see. I don't think it's possible though to pull network out of the theater if it's just on the Wi-Fi. Like it wouldn't give another IP. I don't think on the internal switch. I haven't tried that. I don't think it would.
Probably not. No, I mean this Ubiquiti, the Amplify HD mesh is the consumer grade Ubiquiti stuff, but it works really well. It may not be the absolute fastest router, but if it only matters if your gigabit connection is more than a gigabit, really. Like
how often do you use Network Link in the house?
Me?
Yeah.
Not that often, but when I do, it's flawless.
Mm-hmm. But if you do, how many devices do you have connected? Or playing, sorry, together? So you would have the theater, you would have the stage, would you have the M3?
At least one, if not both M3s.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Like, I've never had an issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
When I had the 28s there, the 28s were playing something. I installed the M3 into the office, and I just pressed join and it went immediately. Like in under a second, it was playing exactly the same in sync with the 28s.
Okay.
And I had never even set it up that to like pull from there, so it saw it on the network over 2 mesh points, and it was fine.
Mm-hmm. Sigma's asking if the quality of Wisa is impeded by the distance. No, it doesn't. It's a digital signal, so if it drops out completely. It doesn't become sounding like a tape because you're too far from it. It's digital. It's either or, and it's 0 or 1.
It's like HDMI. You either have the connection or you don't.
Yes.
So and the quality is 24-bit 96 kilohertz.
Yes.
Up to, but it depends on your source material. Like Netflix or YouTube doesn't cast or send music out in that quality.
No.
Most FLAC files that you stream aren't even in that quality.
No, there would be 44.1 16-bit, just regular CD quality.
Yeah, quite a lot of them are.
Which is already 10 megs a minute.
Something like that.
Of content, like that's you're choking down some data. Listening to high quality stuff.
I mean, you can use Tidal and get the 24-bit whatever one.
Then you could use more or less the Tidal streams up with the above potential of what Wisa can do, because they can go all the way to 192.
Yeah.
But if you do 96 with the 24-bit music, it would sound unbelievable still. But then if you're getting into that kind of a quality, I don't think that the 17s would be the proper speaker for you to listen to on that.
We're also chasing specs at this point, because this is such a specs arms race where I don't think most people can actually hear the difference.
I would agree with you. I think it's more or less like what you see. It's you believe that you are, oh yeah, this is much better.
I mean, have you ever bought an official record label CD and thought, this quality isn't there?
Sublime.
Yeah, but that's mastering, right? That's not even the quality.
Yeah. The recording was, the guy should be freaking, his hands cut off the freaking knobs. Like, no, don't ever mix anything in your life other than, I don't know, dough.
Yeah, but there wasn't like ticking or any sort of...
No, it was just shrill and terrible recording, like terrible. Even microphone placement and all that. Like, they did a terrible job. It was a fucking garage recording. It was terrible. But you can tell that. I couldn't really tell that on, let's say, the Lab 5s. I didn't really listen to that music that much at the time. But once, like, I picked up the 90s, you go through a lot of tunes, a lot of genres, because you want to hear everything on those speakers that you spent a lot of damn money on, first of all. And second of all, like, every day is a new venture with sound. And then you discover how some artists, like, they actually spend the money and it shows on the sound quality of the recording versus some that just, did some nonsense and that was that. So I mean, it really depends.
Get your favorite album on CD, play it, and then stream it on the next step up, which is probably
Spotify
24,
Deezer, yeah,
or just Deezer 24-bit, let's say 42 kilohertz or 44 kilohertz, 24-bit. If you can hear that difference, first of all, your hearing is fucking sublime. Secondly, you probably should get better speakers at that point.
Yeah, well, there's fireworks behind you still going on.
Oh, yeah.
They'll
go on for another week or so.
Wow. That's funny.
It's been going on basically from before Christmas until yesterday evening. And then yesterday evening they went wild for like an hour and a half.
Apparently, I was talking to my dad in Slovakia, where he is, they banned fireworks because all these vegans were protesting that the dogs are scared and stuff.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. So, what happens when it's lightning outside and no nature and shit?
We're going to ban lightning.
That's the next. They're ban lightning and thunder.
I mean, maybe that's the green energy we're after.
For the love
like
of
you
God.
send out a plane with like a lasso of like
a kite. The dogs are scared by the fireworks and these.
Yeah. Well, I'm scared of dogs, so ban dogs.
But yeah, it's just silly. But I didn't see anything going on here. But I didn't really go outside. It was raining here.
It was
still rains.
Bloody pandemonium here. I put it up actually on the Discord too, so people want to see.
Yeah, I saw that. It was crazy. As far as the eyes could see, there was fireworks coming off. Like a lot too, not just some fucking $7 Roman candles and whatnot. Like these people were like have some serious ammunition to toss.
Oh yeah. You can buy these boxes, right? That are like, I don't know, about 40 centimeters by 60 centimeters. And
oh God!
These individual mortars in them, and they cost anywhere between €200 and €300. And
Jesus Lord, that's a lot of money that people like just put up.
Some
in the
people
air.
will just buy 5 of them.
Holy shit, that's a lot of cash.
But if you go to Belgium, you can buy the even bigger boxes that will just do the whole show for like 20 minutes, and they can be up to $1,000. And some people just, well, we're in Belgium, so we're just going to buy 8 of them. I mean, we need to have at least an hour of fireworks, right? Because otherwise you're not doing it properly.
Oh my God. That's insane. Basically burn a theater in the air with fire.
Oh yes, absolutely. I think this country has like 18 million people, and the legal amount of fireworks sold was something like 118 million euro.
What?
So 18 million people, legal amount of fireworks sold, 118 million.
Holy shit.
So the average is like, on average, I think it's €100-ish a person. And that's including the elderly and all the kids, right? Like that.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot of gunpowder.
Yes. I can actually look it up.
That's funny. Sandeep saying, my Olufsen I'm getting from my dealer, guessing he needs the firmware update. they've both been dormant for a while, or is it not the end of the world? I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it should just look at it if there is an issue, then have them software updated. I wouldn't even worry about it. Like Mikey's, they have 2 different software versions on them by default of the age, and they work fine. So
it's a stability thing. The difference isn't massive. I think the reason they updated the firmware for Wisa.
But are you not replacing the lap 3s that you had hardwired, or are these just gonna be?
Yeah, but one of the wires went wrong.
Oh, that's right. I forget.
And no conduit.
Fuck.
But hold on. So my 17 is getting from my dealer, guessing needs firmware been dormant for a while. What does dormant for a while mean? Because that software update, if I recall correctly, was done in 2017.
Like there has been an update for the 17s for a long time.
Well, it was the 18s too, right? Because at that point in time, I got a call from my dealer, and that was in the old apartment when he came to do it, and I lived there for like 3-ish years, and we had just moved in there, so that's close to 6 years ago now. Because I think the update was out at that point already when he came to do it.
I don't think you can update those with the USB, bro. I think that this is a service tool update, and you need that USB.
You can update them over USB through the transmitter 1.
Oh.
But then you need a transmitter 1.
I wouldn't fucking
You
trust
might
that.
as well ask your dealer to do it, but...
Yeah, I would just do it through a service tool, directly inject into the speaker.
But
I would not even...
I think if your 17s were made after 2015, 16, the update was factory standard.
It was just that firmware version that we're putting on already.
It's a way of... I think... If I remember right, but I'm not 100% certain. I think it's how the sort of power was used to the antennas. I think the BeoLab 17 was sold until 2020. Yeah,
I think so.
So, but this update is a long ass time ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because they sold for 2-3 years or something like that, and then there was an update. So yeah, I think the update was 2016 or 2017 or something like that. And dealers were told to go out to customers and update them if they wanted it to, or at least offer it. I mean, if your dealer sticks in, you can pull the log files from them. Like have it powered on, put in a USB, pull it out after 30 seconds, and you can just see the software version.
The last software update was on the 13th of November 2020. It's a version 1.1.7.7195 for the lap 17, 18, 19, and 20, and receiver 1. Improved hardware support for more DFS channels in EU, so that probably is better for y'all. Better handling of congested RF environments. BeoLab 20 only fixed intermittent high-pitched noise during playback. So.
And what was the one before that? Because the
one before that was on April 16th, 2019, and it was only for BeoLab 20.
And the 17-18 one was?
17-18, the last one was on January 19th, 2018. And the software version release was introduced from serial numbers, this and this and this, because they were now, all products were running the version 1.1.5.620. That was the standard factory default.
Yeah, I'm not on the latest software then. I know that for sure.
But I don't think it makes any difference.
I know for a fact I'm not on the latest software, and it doesn't change anything. They work fine.
I would just put them on the wall and see how they perform. If they do have an issue, then I would look into the software update and whatever. But I don't think that. I think there's just too much overthinking going on here
Yeah.
for what they are. I
I
think
mean,
they will work no
even the
problem.
Mark 1 software, like the initial software wasn't bad or anything. It just,
They
I
all
think,
worked. Yeah, they all work. Nice.
But I think what happened is that depending on congestion, there was like a power thing to the antenna where it would go, like the power would fluctuate a bit. And once that was stabilized, the connection stabilized, if I remember right. But if they're there anyway, if they're coming from a dealer, you might as well check them. Like it takes them... Well, here it took my dealer 10 minutes or so per speaker to do it. And part of that was getting on the little step stool, pulling the covers off, putting the thing in on the laptop back down again with a long ass cable, and pressing go and just setting it aside.
Yeah.
It really doesn't take that long.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I think you'll be fine. 14 days. Shit, I hope that my stuff comes in 10 days so I can put the panel up. I'm so excited, bro.
I can only imagine. Yeah, it's nice.
But yeah, it's gonna be. I honestly wonder because I'm gonna put the panel up, and I'm not gonna tune it. Excuse me. So I'm just gonna see what does it perform like, or how much does the panel actually affect the acoustics of its performance when it's in freestanding mode like it is now versus having a panel on top of it.
So are you gonna go B&O recommended spec or what my dealer and I did, where you go slightly lower?
On what?
The panel with the screen mount interface.
I'm gonna go with the spec, which is what 8 mils off the screen.
Okay.
I'm gonna go so it doesn't touch. Like I don't want the sensor to be sitting on it. That's one thing that I do not want.
Oh no! So, well, we had it like 3-4 mil above.
Oh no, that's too high for me. I think I would go lower than that. I would go lower than that. I just don't like the gap as much.
Yeah.
And I think it looks nicer. Well, with the G2 panel, it's a different story too, because the screen is much thicker, right?
Yeah.
It's, I guess, they're more or less an answer to their Samsung's freaking frame TVs. Is there any chance that my BeoLab you would need?
This is a way too broad question, Sigmund. I take it there's a space and your name is Sigmund, not Sigmund, but I don't know. I don't speak Nordic. Is there a chance any BeoLab you intend to connect to a theater needs an update? Yes, but that's because the question is so broad. Like BeoLab 28s get updates all the time, but it's Wi-Fi. 50s, 90s still get updates. It's just the 18s, 17s. They don't have any internet connectivity. So if there is an update, you need to do it manually with a cable.
Yeah,
or have a transmitter, 19, download a file and put it in your transmitter one. But okay.
Sadly enough, that the theater wouldn't do the software update over the Wisa through the transmission, like the transmitter part.
But the Eclipse and the Harmony didn't either.
No.
Or the Avant.
It's weird that the transmitter is the only one that could do that.
But the transmitter is the only one that doesn't work with 28.
That's interesting.
It's just also strange. I mean, the 28 had a Wisa update.
I'm going to try that in the store. Because we have 28s in the shop, of course. So I'm going to try to put them on Wisa, on the transmitter.
I mean, I think initially when the theater launched, the 28s didn't work on Wisa with the theater. So the 28s had to have a Wisa update. But everything else works, so it's really, I don't know, it's a bit of a hodgepodge and mess of little things here and there. If you wire any of it, none of this is an issue.
Ever. Yeah.
Like if your BeoLab 17s are on the first of the first software, but you wire them, okay.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't change a thing.
Because you actually do pick them, instead of it selecting itself automatically what the speaker they are, you assigned it in the theater, which is also interesting how you assign speakers one below another, because that's your one power link socket. Because if you do plus on the other side, that's you basically assigning to a secondary or a power link 2 socket.
Yeah.
And power link 3 and power link 4, but you have to go down. There's a couple bugs that are in the app that still kind of, I'm sure they're going to figure it out over time. And I also suggest that people, if you have issues, send the contact the BNO through the app. It doesn't fall on a dead bot somewhere, but people do actually read it.
Yeah. They may not
And
always immediately reply, but they will actually read it. And the theater also
and
is a
more
very high
complaints.
priority item.
Hmm. And
So
not more complaints, but more feedback that they have and data to mine off of, and harvest the information. I think the better off we all are at the end, because then the software updates fix more or less everybody else's problems as well,
yeah,
or
like the
majority.
idea you showed or said, right? Like that people ask for the volume light to blink when you go volume up. Like I don't think
Hmm.
B&O actually cares either way, but it cares that we want it and that we like it
Hmm.
a certain way. Like
So
so they'll make it blink if that's what everybody wants. Fine, that's okay. Like I don't think they care either way if it blinks or doesn't, but they'll do it because they want us to like it.
hmm. No, I completely agree, and I think that's, like, it's not but much of a, I think, to ask, because they can just put it in the code where then it's a slider in the app. Would you like, volume indication on the LED or not, right? If
Yeah.
you want it or not. Question: can't use Cat 7 or 8 for a PowerLink alternative? Yes, you can. That's what is BNO's recommended cable to use, which is essentially a Cat 6E with the shield, and then the Cat 8 essentially is what we use. We call it an in-wall cable. It's an 8 millimeter thick radius wire, and they are solid strands instead of braided strands of cable that are in the 6 mil, which is the product cable, which is a little more bendier and a little, I guess, yeah, it's just more bendier and it's more friendly to use versus the other one, which is thicker than, and it just, then again, it's for the in wall to
Or
go
ask
to
Steve
the
for your cable
crystals.
questions.
Or yeah,
You know,
Steve's got probably better quality than B&O does. I'm certain of it when
I
it
know for
comes to the
certain. I
when it
mean,
comes
Steve has
to
better
power
three and
links.
a half millimeter headphone jacks than B&O does. Like B&O's
Hmm.
cables aren't bad, really. The impedance is something like 32 to 34 ohm. But Steve's are, I think he measured them down to like some of them are like 24.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
When I
So
get
it's,
my 90s unpack, I'll have him make my cables there. Then
I'm not entirely sure it matters a whole lot with like power link cables, but for headphone, like it just leaves more of the amp power for for
hmm.
juicing the headphones.
Yeah, if you still have wired headphones,
Yeah, but you can wire these,
of course you can.
and ultimately it just gives a cleaner sound. Here, I found it. So this in Dutch says record turnover in fireworks shops. People spend about 4,000 to 5,000 euro.
Holy shitballs, man! That's like some serious savings going up to smoke.
Yeah, and like I said, this is one of those boxes, right? Like 281 shots.
Compound X.
Yeah, 281 shots in the box.
Wow.
You just you light it and you just stand there for like 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 minutes.
Just
Like,
sip on your beer or whatever your
yeah,
poison of choices. That's funny. Wow. Yeah, there you go, man. That's New Year's. Not here. Here, people, I don't know what the fuck do people do. Not much. I know Calgary usually had fireworks in the downtown, but I don't know how cold it was because it was pretty bad. The Chinook was rolling around, so I don't know. But yeah,
so, I think you can use the other cat cables. I would just use what's recommended.
uh, for the power link, don't use Cat 5. Like, you cannot use plastic terminals. You have to have Shield because you will not be able to get rid of the buzz. You can't do that. For network, who cares? But I wouldn't go to Cat 5 cables, like, at all, at all. Not nowadays, especially when you are looking into doing a media network in the house instead of just a regular browsing network. So
For
I
speaker
would,
use, it's double shielded Cat 6E, or I think actually the main recommendation is Cat 7.
yes.
But Cat 7 is not as bendy. So, but there are different manufacturers that have it double shielded and also the terminal shielded at the end. That either have it more or less pliable.
Yes.
And I mean, this is like a full-time job to figure this all out. This is how Steve literally has a job, because he spends days on like not just the shielding and how it's shielded, but also the jacket around it. And is it one of those things that if you bend it, it sort of makes a hollow point on the inside, and then you have wrinkles, or does it bend smooth, right? Like, is it flexible and that sort of shit?
Well, it does make a big difference, and it's actually quite important, especially if you look at wiring back into a theater on a floor stand per se, or any VNO TV for that matter. How cable management is very, very intricate, especially like BeoVision 11s on the wall brackets, where you have literally only 1.5 centimeters, that if you fuck that up, then you have a hole in the wall that you can see from the bottom of the TV. So yeah, but I would if any preference, I would run Cat 7, especially if you're going to do a BNO environment in the house. I would spend the money on the wiring infrastructure, because that's something that is in the wall. You can't really get to it again anymore, and for speaker locations, like I definitely where that they're gonna go to, I would definitely do a conduit.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do it in the wall or anything, so I just have cable gutters. But like, I have this little step where like you have the floor and then that straight up piece and then the top. So I've just put the cable gutter just on top of where the thing sits. So
you just raise it a little bit, but you don't see it.
Cables going all the way around, and then you see this tiny little bit, and then it goes in the skirting board. And then it goes all the way to like a speaker here and there, because like the quickest route is this way. But I had to go with like a 20-odd meter cable all the way fucking round to not see the cable or minimally see it. Like I see like maybe 30 centimeters in a sheath there.
Yeah,
I could put it in a cable thing, but it was okay when the 18s were there, but now the 17s are there. I'm stuck with a cable that's not long enough to go into the 17. Like I miss out on like 15 centimeters.
Shit.
Like
that's so close, but yet so far.
Yeah, because in the 17s they have to go up the thing and do a thing like that, then go 90 degrees and then 90 down again, which is apparently longer than just going up the 18 into the connection.
Well, yeah, but if you swap them how they look, then you would have the connector panel on the bottom of the other one, so it would give you a little bit distance.
Yeah, but then I don't like them as much, because then the
they look fucked up on the other side.
Because then the fat bit of the speaker is on the wrong side.
That's right. Can't have that.
But I still have the issue on this side then. Because on this side, I'm also 15 centimeters short. So I kind of wish I would have not put them in the skirting board, because then like I can pry it off the wall, but like, God, you're going to ruin the wall and it's for sale, so I don't want to do it.
You need a wire stretcher.
Yeah, thin out the sound.
That's right. Thin out the sound. 15 centimeters is a long stretch, bro.
Yeah. It's Steve's. Oh yay! It's open. I think.
What, his website?
I think so. Let me see. Oh no, his FAQ is just open. No, if you haven't, Steve from Sounds Heavenly. He's closed for Christmas at the moment, but his FAQ bit is still open. He all he does basically is figure out ways to connect B&O to
anything,
B&O and anything else that's around. Yeah. And he makes the cables for every iteration of that working. So the the analog in on the theater, I still haven't done it, but I still need to do it. But the analog in on the theater is USB-C. So you need one of these passive USB-C to 3.5 mil line in deals. So I got that from Steve, but like I'll probably do this in the new place where so my record player can go directly into the theater. But now it's also with Steve's cables, it's directly into the 50s. Well, no, not actually. It's into the BeoCenter 2 that is then into the 50s RCA. And also with conversion cables from Steve. But like hand on heart, Steve's cables are the best cables I have. Like I have some B&O cables, but they're
just B&O
they
cables.
work, but some of them are like, how could you not measure your own RJ45 ports? Like, why is this loose in the port?
Yeah, that was a batch of like those 3 mil thin PowerLink cables that really had a bad connectors. They just used bad connectors, especially the ones that you're like the not self-terminating, but the ones that you can terminate by hand. Those were terrible, man. Those were absolutely terrible. I had to zip tie them to the back of the receiver ones, so they stay connected the entire time. It's not fun.
No.
It's not fun at all. But, you manage with as much as you can with what you have.
Also, those cables that I had that when the 28s were still in the rear with the theater, right? Like you line up your cables and it's on a wall bracket. You one click back, line it, go behind it, and tuck it all down. One click, and you go again.
Yeah.
And then that last click, oh fuck! Now they're strained, so now the rear right goes every time you go volume up or down.
Oh.
So it's like click and back, and it's like, oh, it doesn't do it. It's like, oh, maybe now if I go softly, like the cables that are like tight in the RJ45 fitting, they were fine. It's the B&O cable that moved like a tiny bit.
Just a little bit.
And apparently the ground wasn't touching properly enough then or something.
That's right. That's why you get the digital volume, basically, information that you can hear. So weird.
But yeah, it is what it is, and can't do much about it.
I like using the B&O cables because I'm used to using them, and I've been using them for years. I really dislike using Cat6 cables because they're just harder to work with, in my eyes, when you have to unbraid them and they get these goofy. There's like a little cross in the middle, so each pair is in its own thing, but it's all plastic, right? So it doesn't really shield, but it still kind of prevents, I guess, the cable from twisting itself. Or I don't know what it does for help, other than it's just annoying.
Maybe it's for going through corners that you don't like bend them on each other.
Yeah, but then they put them in those spools that are not like on a spool. It's just a box with the and it pulls itself from the inside.
Yeah,
and you always get it that it just bends and kinks and fuck. Just like, oh, that run's gonna be good. So.
No, Cat 7 I think is the way to go.
Bar none. Cat 7 is and you're future proofed because you can literally run anything on a Cat 7 cable on that shielded deal. It could be from PowerLink. You can run your HDMI matrix on it if you wanted to. You can run network very fast. You can run audio. You can even do return channels if you wanted, like the RCA cables that you can basically run up to 4 pairs of speakers if you had do a preamp or whatever on one set of cables.
Yeah, I was actually looking at that for the US. Apparently, you can convert your HDMI into Ethernet, and with Cat 7, you can do it up to like 100 meters,
150, I think it is,
and then convert it back to HDMI. It's like, God, that's actually handy for like building a house where.
Well, but the HDMI extenders, right? That they have that limitation, and the limitation is far greater if you use a proper cable like the Cat 7 that like the one that I use with B&O again. I ran every single wire in that house in Cat 7 that I did a while back now, all the cameras and everything. There is not a single failure point of anything as far as the cabling goes, transmission, everything. It just works, man. It just works and works very well.
Yeah.
because the cables do age, and especially the connectors too, because the products heat up and cool down. And it might not be that much, but like let's say it's a camera that the sun heats on it all day long, like it gets pretty cooking in there.
Especially outside, yeah.
So,
I mean, if
you
you want
know,
a chance, it's Cat6e double shielded.
yeah,
But you might as well go Cat7.
the twisting is different. The transmission speed and efficiency is much greater. So that's just where it's at. But what you put in your own house is your own business.
Yeah, but
I
as
just
Sigmund
usually
says,
shake
if you
my
want to
head.
use Wisa, go for Wisa. If you don't have too many neighbors, it'll work fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
So,
if you don't want to use Wisa, I would prefer wired if you have the opportunity to.
mm-hmm.
And the modern cable gutters you can stick into corners of walls and stuff aren't actually all that bad.
No.
I mean, it's just us B&O people that are harping on not being able to see anything.
Yeah, it's more or less a ball buster than anything. But
I care a lot less than the Danish because I'm not Danish. It's mostly the Danish that are ball busting on this.
hard. I care. I really care. For me, I don't like to. I can't stand the cables. The only thing that, as far as the logic is concerned, for to make a comment about the theater, is why the hell are we supplying a 3 meter cable when the cable from the panel is only 1.5 meters?
3-meter cable of what?
The theater comes with it's a 3 meter long mains cable. Why? When the cable that you can't do anything about, which is the one on the TV, you can't. I mean, well, if you extend it, like it's a headache. But that's only 1.5 meters. Why don't you just supply a 1.5 meter cable, so then you don't have that extra 1.5 meters to spool somewhere behind something to hide it, right? Because it's just the big feels bad. It
Yeah, I
makes
don't
no
know.
sense to me. That makes no sense to me. That's one thing that I would comment on. That, yeah, like if I were to change anything, put a shorter cable in the box, man. There's no point for it.
I mean,
A
for
lot of
me,
these
the
things are.
HDMI cable and the Ethernet cable, neither of them were long enough. So I had to
For an
replace them.
83.
Yeah, and also where it sits behind the TV, like
Mm-hmm.
because it needs to go up, in and over, and then come back again. So it's like I had to buy. I think it was a
5 meter.
3 meter HDMI cable. Like it's way too
Okay.
long now, but
Mm-hmm.
the 2 meter
So you
just,
get.
or maybe it's 2.5 meter. I don't even remember, but like the increments are like either it's like just too short, or it's like
idiot.
this much too long.
Yeah, it sucks.
And I didn't particularly feel like going back and forth to the shop and like, no, actually, this is too short. Can I return it? And it's all bullshit because it's awful to fish that through the back.
Yeah.
I mean, my Ethernet cable for the remote function is I think 5 meters, so I just have it bunched up and shoved in the hole at the back.
Fuck. Yeah, that's what I don't like doing. I would terminate. Well, if you don't have tools, you can't really do anything about it, right? But yeah, I would shorten that sucker down.
No, I thought I had the tool, but it's for old phones. It's not the RJ45 crimper. It's the is it the RJ20 or something?
I think I forget. I don't remember it's RJ4 something, but for the telephones. It's only got 4 pins, right?
Yeah.
Because there's 4, 6, and 8. There's 3 different kinds.
Yeah, it's RJ11. That's it.
There you go. Yeah, that's not gonna do anything for you.
Yeah, so I tossed that because it's like this tool was also so old it came from the ISDN days. Where you could bundle your phone lines
That's
to
a
get double the
long time
internet
ago.
speed.
Oh man, Mom, get off the phone!
Well, I think at that point in the house we had 3 lines, so we always had the line open, but you could bundle the other 2, and then
yeah, we had
on a good day, I think you got about 280 kilobytes down, and that was so fast.
Oh man, I remember those days. Playing
Like an
online
MP3
games
took you like 10 minutes to download, and that was like fast.
Yeah. all the good old era of downloading and how fast the internet speeds grew. Hey, if you think about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Over the years.
That even gigabit now is sort of like, yeah, that's common. I guess unless you're in the UK, but
or in suburbs out here, like out in the sticks, boonies. A lot of people live like out of town, like the houses that I've been to, beautiful homes, but I'm like, why the fuck would you live here? And then you learn that it's basically just a cottage or whatever. I'm like, okay, now I get it, but it's still, we had one job, man. We could not get up the hill with the van. We had to call the client and he picked us up in the fucking Escalade. It was loaded when it was freaking a 77-inch panel that we were putting on with the theater.
Mm-hmm.
So we loaded it into the Escalade. It fit. So like, sweet. Did 2 trips. And then we waited for, like, I guess by the time we were done, the road got plowed. So we drove up the van and, loaded all the garbage and boxes and shit. But like, wow, like ski village, right? What do you expect? And front wheel drive, winter tires or not, man, when there's a few inches of snow on the ground.
Also, when there's a few extra 100 pounds in the back of the car over the wrong wheels.
Yeah. It was not fun. But it was funny, but not fun at the time. But yeah, we got it hugged. But it was good. Like it was pretty interesting Christmas present because we couldn't get it installed before, and like, how do you do that over the Christmas or before Christmas and make it a surprise, right? When they're all sitting there. So she basically just bought him a remote control out of the shop, and he opened that, and then we came in 2 days later and installed the TV.
Yeah. Sandeep, you may see this as annoying. Sandeep says, I got my second power cut in 4 months. His block is running off a generator outside. There's a JCB digging up the road. Hit all kinds of power lines, apparently. It may actually be a good thing once the Russians turn off the gas and you have rolling brownouts. At least your block will be off the generator that's perpetually running.
Oh, my God. Well, it's probably going to get tough over there with the energy pricing, definitely.
Oh yeah, it's still not fun. It's slightly better, but it's only temporary.
Yeah. Well, everything in life is temporary if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, there's no fun if it wasn't.
No, I agree.
I mean, can you imagine perpetual bliss? That would be like boring on week 2.
Yeah, you need some suffering in your life and some bullshit going on. Stub your toe and.
So in that case, thank you, B&O, for sometimes fucking up, because otherwise we wouldn't have anything to talk about.
No,
everything's great; it just works. How do I connect?
You would still find something. You would still find something to talk about, but yeah.
It would be the tech help of, have you tried turning it on and off again?
God. So many times that has happened that actually is just a problem, that you just need to reboot the bloody thing. But people don't think.
Weirdly, for the theater, that was a thing with the latest update. Like, it didn't really take until you shut it off again. Don't know why.
I don't know. I had zero problems with my theater. I put it up and updated once, then I put it in a beta mode, updated it second time, and
wait, the beta mode just took?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just rebooted itself and boom, ding dong, done. Tuned it, set up the stand, whatnot. Yeah, I had zero issues. Weirdly enough, because usually there is always something that goes hanky, but not something that's unfixable. But like I said earlier, with the goofy television box that wouldn't do center channel on their auto surround, whatever nonsense. So
it's French. Blame the French.
I blame the French. It's terrible, man.
I bet you that's a different word in French again, isn't it?
What?
Like surround, that's too British, or English or whatever, so we don't use that. It's like,
I don't know. No, I think they have surround. I don't know. Like most of the, a lot of tech language that they talk is English words. So I have an idea of what's going on. Is once they start, it's the day-to-day nonsense. Like if they're talking between themselves, other than shop, it's hard for me to understand because I don't know what they're saying.
How was your cheese? Yeah, it was blue. How was your cheese? No, I had a cheddar. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I have
Fromage.
That's right. So I don't know. But anyways, on that note, I'm gonna go and start listening to my theater. I've lost 2 hours of my day today.
Thank you everybody for listening, watching, that sort of thing. Don't forget we're on Substack, so if you want to join the audio only version there, go for it. Don't forget to visit our friends Prestige Creators and Skinny Play, and we'll see you all most likely next week, and I'll let you know on Discord and or YouTube what I'll do tomorrow. Not sure yet.
I'm home tomorrow, I think, so we could probably stream as well.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that. I'll let everybody know, as I said. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Happy New Year.
When this long night will fade away, and we go back to our old ways, two perfect strangers in the skies. When the sun is going to stretch its arms on the road, turn us again with his shrill call into perfect strangers in disguise. But until then,